Mourinho in or Mourinho out then? Manchester United's problems continue after yesterday's horrific performance for Manchester United, losing to Juventus. But it wasn't so much the result that I'm so pissed off about. And this is just wearing thin with me with Jose Mourinho. Now, I've stuck by Jose Mourinho for a number of weeks. People know that I've been backing the guy and that I was hoping that things could turn around. But we've won one game out of our last 7. We got knocked out of the League Cup to Derby. We're 10th in the Premier League, and it looks like we may well get knocked out of the Champions League and finish in the Europa League spot, which is absolutely atrocious for Manchester United. We've spent money in the summer to address areas in the squad. We brought a right back in and a midfielder in, neither of them who have got pretty much no game time at all this season. Fred's got a game here or a game there, but hasn't featured for ages. Why the fuck not? I do not know. And yesterday it just got to the end of it for me, to be honest, really, with the fact that Jose Mourinho made no substitutions in that game and just stood there and accepted defeat. And I'm just appalled at that, to be honest. You know, in his early days, Jose Mourinho would not accept defeat in any game. When he was Chelsea manager, wherever it was, he would not accept defeat. He would change things up at half-time, before half-time, and he even did that against Newcastle. But that particular game, we were 2 goals down and something had to change. He took Eric Bailly off and brought Juan Mata on. But yesterday, he decided to make no substitutions and then blamed it on the fact that he thought that Teeth Chong would not score. What an absolute load of old rat shit, to be honest. You know, we've had many of players, young players, make their debuts over the years, the likes of Danny Welbeck, Januzaj, etc., Makeda, and they've all performed very well in their debut. I'm not saying that Teeth Chong was going to come onto the pitch and perform wonders against a world-class team. No, I'm not saying that, but Jose Mourinho just stood there with 15 minutes to go yesterday and just done fuck all to change it. I mean, there was players on that substitutes bench that he could have brought on to change the dynamic of the game potentially, and potentially maybe we could have still nicked a draw out of it. Who knows? He had likes of Pereira and Herrera and Fred on the bench who could have all come on for Matic, who Matic was having a horrific game, offering nothing for Manchester United and very defensive. Manchester United could have brought, say, Herrera onto the pitch, would have given Manchester United maybe a different dynamic. We did not need Matic on the pitch. Manchester United, the last 10-15 minutes could have just gone gung-ho, thrown the kitchen sink of this, brought Chong on, brought a couple of other players on and just gone go-ho. Okay, we haven't got the likes of his boyfriend, Marouane Fellaini, sitting on the bench, but we've still got players on the bench that he could have brought on. We haven't got Alexis Sanchez or Lingard. Okay, I accept that, but he could have tried something else. Instead, just accepted defeat. If we'd gone gung-ho them last 15 minutes and lost 2-0, I could have accepted it. But we didn't. He didn't change anything up. The football's been atrocious most of the time for Manchester United. I know some fans have thought with that second half revival a bit against Chelsea that things were turning, but I mean the defending has been so bad for Manchester United. It really has. I mean, I cannot believe how bad the defence has been this season for Manchester United. And what has been so atrocious still is Manchester United's home form. That is another game that we've fucking fucked up yesterday at home. We've also lost games against Spurs and Derby at home, which has been absolutely atrocious for Manchester United this season. Just not good enough for Manchester United, and something has got to change. We're 10th in the Premier League, and I mean, I don't know what people are expecting. I mean, if we go and beat Everton at the weekend, people are going to say 2-0 or something, which I'm not even confident we're going to beat Everton. Then what are people going to say? Oh, we're turning the corner again. And then next week we're going to have another rat shit game against whoever we've got, Bournemouth, whoever we've got coming up on the rise, and we'll have a whole shit game against them. And then we'll be back to square one. Manchester United would have to win a truckload of games on the trot to stand any chance of getting up near the top, because 1 or 2 wins, then we have a draw or a defeat, and we're just back to square one. We're getting far too far away from the top teams at the top to even challenge for the top 4 this season. And if something doesn't change, then we're not going to even challenge for the top 4, and that is even atrocious. Not even to be challenging for the top 4, let alone challenging for the title, and it is just fucking diabolical. And I'm sorry, but I think the time has come. We're going to have to make the. I cannot see any other way around it. There are players in this team that are just not performing nowhere near at the quality that Manchester United need. And some people are saying, well, Manchester United cannot challenge for the title with this squad. Okay, we were 19 points adrift last season, but we finished second with this same fucking squad last season. What has gone wrong? Some of these players are levels below what they even were last season, which is an absolute joke, to be honest. I mean, you've only got to look through the team and see how poor some of these players are performing. I mean, Rashford's performing poorly for Manchester United, and he's been performing okay on the whole for England. Lukaku can't hit a barn door for Manchester United. Scored a couple of goals the other week for Belgium. What is going on with Manchester United? These players are not performing for Jose Mourinho. Alexis Sanchez has been absolutely atrocious. Okay, didn't play yesterday, but absolutely fucking atrocious for Manchester United. Paul Pogba not been good enough for Manchester United. These are all top players. None of them are horseshit players. These should be playing at a much higher level than this for Manchester United. Some of these players do not want to play for Jose Mourinho, including Martial and Valencia. These players do not want to play for Jose Mourinho. A lot of them do not, and I'm sorry, but they're not performing for Jose Mourinho either. So I don't know where we go from here, but something has got to give for Manchester United. I mean, we cannot carry on like this. If we were to lose to Everton, we would be in the bottom half of the table. I cannot see us getting any higher than we're going to be below 10, because some of the other teams below us are going to win, and that is an absolute catastrophic of errors from Manchester United this season to be below the 10th position in the Premier League. It really will after 10 games. Just not fucking good enough for Manchester United. And I mean, we've got to do something. I mean, the candidates out there aren't the best options at this present moment, but there is no point in keeping. I can't see at this any more reason why Manchester United can keep this going, because things cannot get a lot worse than this. Besides, if we drop into the bottom half of the table, things cannot get much worse than this. Besides being in the relegation, and I can't, to be honest, see Manchester United getting relegated, even if we keep Jose Mourinho as manager. So I don't know what people think. Let me know in the comment section below who you think should be manager between now and the end of the season, because the reports are that Zinedine Zidane doesn't really want to take this job on this season. If he doesn't want to take this job on, would you keep Jose Mourinho on as manager, or would you give it to McKenna or Carrick or someone in club till the end of the season, or would you look elsewhere? There isn't a whole host of options out there. Probably the best option for Manchester United would be Antonio Conte if Zidane doesn't want to take the job, but would people be happy with Antonio Conte coming into Manchester United? Does look like Real Madrid may want him as well, but something has got to change, because Manchester United have been performing so poor, and at least he could get a bit of a structure together, hopefully sort this defence out. If it was to be Antonio Conte, I'm not saying he's my preferred choice, because I don't really know the preferred choice for Manchester United. Whoever we go for is going to be a risk. He would be a short-term fix, but something has got to be done, because Manchester United could still make that Champions League place. There is plenty of games still to play. Some of the other teams might fold off a little bit, but if Manchester United carry on the way they are, they're not even going to challenge for the top four, and that is absolutely horrendous for Manchester United this season. So I just do not know where Manchester United are going this season, to be honest. I mean, after yesterday, and I mean, it wasn't just the result. I expected them to play us off the park yesterday. I really did, but the fact that Jose Mourinho didn't even try to change it to get anything out of the game, it was just abysmal. And there's been too many excuses. He's coming out saying that they've got better players than Manchester United. They've spent more money on top quality players, but Manchester United have gone out there and have backed this guy in the past. Okay, he didn't get all the signings he wanted in the summer. Was that why he didn't make a single fucking substitute late on? I don't know, but it is just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, he's had a lot of money to spend. He's bought 3 defenders that should be going into this team. Okay, Diogo Dalot is young and probably injured at the moment, but the other 2, Lindelof, played okay yesterday, but him and Bay were big, expensive signings for Jose Mourinho. He's bought in Fred and hasn't even played him, so he can't use that as an excuse when he hasn't even fucking used Fred hardly at all. I can't remember him playing much football since we played Wolves, and he actually scored in that game. So why the fuck would you spend 50, 60 million pounds on Fred and not even play him? Was he even a signing that you wanted? I mean, there is real question marks over this, but to be honest, he can't be moaning and bitching about the lack of transfers when he has had over 300 million pounds to spend. We've had 3 seasons to get summers to get this right, and you've only got to look at Emre and what's going on at Chelsea as well. Arsenal and Chelsea, they're doing so much better this season now they've changed managers. I mean, you're looking at the way Chelsea have performed this season, up near the top, and I mean, Emre at Arsenal has just done fantastic. He won about 10 games on the trot. Just absolutely brilliant, playing really good football, letting in less goals than they were under Arsene Wenger. And he's hardly brought in any signings, hardly any money this summer for Arsenal, and he's transformed that team from a team that finished 6th, that was going absolutely nowhere, wasn't winning a single away game last season, and he's transformed that team around. And to be honest, them two managers have had, Chelsea and Arsenal, have had hardly any time. I mean, Chelsea's manager coming so late in the transfer window, hardly managed to bring any players, wasn't able to bring in another striker to take the pressure off Giroud and Morata, who aren't scoring goals, and reliant on Hazard, and they're still bossing it up near the top. Both of them two teams are so much better now they've changed manager. And Jose Mourinho's had three summer transfer windows. We don't know what type of style of play he wants to play. It just doesn't seem to even have a system when we go out there. It just doesn't seem. The players just don't seem to know what they're doing out on the pitch. It's just all thrown together. And when we go behind, obviously, it's natural the players have got to try and get back in the game, and it seems that the players are just in the last two Premier League games anyway, that the players have took it almost on themselves to try and get back in this game and push forward and attack, because it's only natural that when you're losing you've got to go forward, push men forward. But we didn't even do that yesterday. It was absolutely atrocious, to be honest. And Juventus didn't even get out of second gear. I mean, tactically, we're just not there. I don't know if his message isn't getting over to the players, but if it's not, then the players obviously don't want to play for the guy. I just don't know where we're going with this, but something has got to change soon. And I'm hoping we've got a whole week after that Everton game. We have got no game after that. I just wish that the change would be made. It should have really been made in the international break, because we're just not going anywhere. I want the guy to succeed, but I just can't see how he is going to turn this around. I really don't. I mean, a lot of people are thinking, there's been reports from Duncan Castles that Jose Mourinho wants to have funds in January to turn this around, bring in a couple of centre halves maybe. But we're never going to get to January like this. We're going to be so far off the pace for the top 4 if we carry on like this going into the January transfer market. I mean, it's just absolutely atrocious. I'm looking at that back 4. I mean, Cristiano Ronaldo coming back to Manchester United, what is it, 5-6 years probably since the Real Madrid knocked us out of the Champions League. And you look, some of the same horseshit players are still in the Manchester United squad. I bet you can't believe it. Okay, Jones is injured, but if Jones wasn't injured yesterday, he would probably have played. And you'd have had Jones, Smalling and Ashley Young playing it on the pitch. I mean, Jesus Christ, he probably thought that them players should have fucking retired years ago. He probably was laughing when he saw that he was going to be up against the likes of Ashley Young and Chris Smalling. It's an absolute joke. It's like bloody clowns on the pitch. I mean, how the fuck some of these players are still playing when Jose Mourinho's had a lot of money to spend on this team, and these players should not still be in the Manchester United squad. He's had enough time to sort most of this mess out, and we're further away from winning the title than we probably were under David Moyes. So anyway, that's my thoughts on it. We've got to do something, got to make some sort of change. We cannot carry on like this much longer. Something needs to give, because the defending has been absolutely atrocious. The forward line, some of these players, Lukaku, Rashford, are not performing for the manager, not putting in nowhere near the effort. Maybe, I don't know if it's the effort or the desire or what it is, but they're not putting in the quality that they should be putting in order to get Manchester United back where they are. And I'm sorry, but it's going to fall on the manager. If Lukaku's not scoring goals, then it's going to fall back on the manager. Whether he's playing for the manager or not, it doesn't look like Lukaku's playing for the manager, because he is looking like a lower league player at this moment in time. And a lot of people are taking the piss out of this guy. And it's reminiscent of when Hazard was so poor under Jose Mourinho to me. Hitting penalties miles into the stands. It is absolutely reminiscent of that. And I do think that some of these players just have down tools. And at the end of the day, if you've got 4 or 5 players that have down tools, then you're not turning that around. I'm sorry, it is the way it is in football these days. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on it. Who do you want to see as manager? Are you still for Jose Mourinho, or are you against him? Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll talk to you all again soon. See ya.